Hello and welcome to yet another tutorial, or rather this is my first tutorial on making your very own website in Visual Studio or .NET. And let's talk about Visual Studio before we get into the whole ASP.NET arena. Visual Studio is an IDE. IDE means Integrated Development Environment. Integrated because it offers a lot in one place. For example, you can create websites, you can create standalone applications, you can create services, you can create WPF applications, WCF applications, and so on. So the important thing is that Visual Studio offers so many things in one entire package. Everything is integrated and it provides you with an environment where development is obviously more than possible. So it is a very good IDE. I mean, it gives the programmers the necessary things that, you know, helps you do your job better. So it's a good IDE, and obviously it has very little to no competition in this world. But I say Java people are getting there, and I am a Java programmer myself, so I support them. Okay, enough about my ramblings, and let's get on with the website. Okay, so a website, the prerequisites to making a website, there are two things that you absolutely should know about. Number one is HTML, and number two is CSS. HTML because HTML is the basis of all the websites in the world. There is no other option to HTML. You need to know HTML because it forms the absolute basics of this world comprising of websites. The number two thing is CSS. CSS is nothing but cascading style sheets. You might put a button out there, but if the button is looking bland and plain and simple, it might not make to a great website. So you need CSS to style things. You need to put some makeup on your buttons, on your text boxes, on your drop downs. So CSS will do that for you, and it will make your website look cool. It will make your website look nice and clean. Okay, so those two things are the prerequisites to making a website. Now let's come to the main part. Let's talk about ASP.NET. So let's just get to it. Let's just show you step by step what you need to do to create your very own website in Visual Studio. So all you need to do is go to File, go to New, and you get an option of website directly. You can do the same by going into Project and then selecting a website, but you always can just go to the direct way. Okay, so let's talk about a few options that you have over here. Now, the first basic option is having the selection of language of your choice. You have Visual Basic and you have Visual C Sharp. C Sharp, I would say, has taken over Visual Basic and has become the industry standard, and all .NET programmers are now C Sharp programmers. C Sharp obviously derives a lot of inspiration from Java and is pretty similar in the coding style, I would say. So select Visual C Sharp for our reference, and now you have this plethora of options that you can choose from, and but all of them are a little, I would say, same dish, but served differently. The only thing different is the WCF service, which is something that you need to know about once you get ahead of the basics of building your website. Okay, so you select ASP.NET website, and then you have the option of selecting the framework. As with most technologies, the higher the framework, the better it is because better options are there, better optimizations and utilization of resources is available. So obviously we are at .NET Framework 4, but there is .NET Framework 4.5, which is available in Visual Studio 2012. The web location you need not think about right now because you have three options, and obviously it is going to be file system because you're storing it on your system and running it from your system. Just click on OK, and Visual Studio will build your solution folders, and it will present you with the default.aspx. Now, since we are in Visual Studio 2010, it will look a little bit different than Visual Studio 2008. Maybe not as different if you're using Visual Studio 2012. In 2008, you'll be seeing HTML tags. Basically, there will be no content tags, but I'll just show you that it does not matter right now. Okay, so let's talk about the basic file structure that you see on your solution tab that you have over here. The number one thing that you want to care about is these two files, default.aspx and default.aspx.cs. The .NET people are very sharp people. They know that keeping things separate and segregated is a good thing, and that is why what they have done is they have given you your basic designing part in the .aspx file and your basic functionality part in your .aspx.cs file. By designing, I mean the way your website will look, and by functionality, I mean the way your website will behave. So basically, there is a clear demarcation of default.aspx showing you the looks, or rather the display of your web page, and the .aspx.cs showing you, or rather offering you, the functionality. So let's start with .aspx over here. The .aspx file will basically contain your HTML file, which will, show you how your website will look, how your website will, be displayed on the browser. Now, in .NET Framework 4.0 and Visual Studio 2010, the basic website is linked with a site.master file. We did not, care about it right now because this does not come in your basics, I would say, because this is something that you need to know after you know a little bit about ASP.NET and building websites in ASP.NET. So I'll just go to design tab over here. As you'll see, you have three tabs that are available: design, split, and source. So as you can see, the split view will be the best view if you want to see what you are designing. So if you add any tag in this, let's say I add a h1 tag which specifies my demo, and as soon as I click on enter and just click on the design part to synchronize, and you'll see that my demo is right over here. Now this thing that you see over here, I wouldn't say it is 100%, because you need to run your project and then see it in a browser, because the browser is the best way to see what your website will look like. This is just an overview, I would say, of what your website may look like running on a professional proper browser. Okay, so the split view is for when you have designing going on and you just want to have a preview of the web page itself. The most important thing is right now this one, the .cs file. As you'll see, the .cs file is nothing but a class file. It is a C# file, and that is why the .cs extension. It is like any other C# file. It has a class in it, and you can have multiple classes in it, and it has the inherited the properties of a UI.page from the system namespace. You don't need to worry about it too much, but I'm just specifying it because this means that it inherits the properties that are presented by the page. You'll get certain functionalities that are related to the ASP.NET web page cycle. Just Google it and you'll come to know about it. That is not that important when you're learning the basics. So, in the .cs files, you will write your functionality. The functionality, I mean, like what you want to do when somebody clicks on a button, what you want to show when somebody clicks on a pop-up, and so on and so forth. So your functionality goes inside the .cs files, and the design part goes in the .aspx file. Isn't that simple? Isn't building websites so simple these days? Okay, so these two files are the crux of your website. These two files will, as you build upon your website, you create your very own files, you change the files, you keep creating web pages, and that is going to be similar to what these two files are all about. So this is, I guess, enough for today, because I've just shown you the basics of ASP.NET websites. In my next session, I'll be showing you what this you know what the designing part should be like, and what the coding file should be like. And for that next session, we'll be dealing with a brand new web page that we'll create on our very own, and we'll be adding the functionality to it, and we'll be doing some validations in it. So it's going to be fun. So see you around in the next session, and I hope you enjoyed watching this one. Thank you for watching.